Welcome to Fast Track Gains. I'm here to help you accelerate your gains. This is the third episode of my 8th series, The Unsung Heroes, as we have farewelled the two less well-known cousins, the brachialis and the brachioradialis. The next three unsung heroes all come from very well-known muscle groups. But just like some siblings have always received less love from the same family, these three muscles are always being overshadowed by their other siblings in the same muscle group, most likely due to the reason that they generally cannot be easily seen in the mirror. However, just because they do not have the same exposure does not mean that they're less important than their siblings. In fact, you're going to find that all three less exposed muscles are all more important than their siblings, which is the very reason why I created the Unsung Heroes series. Anyway, I digress. We shall start from our first ignored sibling, the Longhead of the triceps. As I said at the very beginning, tricep is a very well-known muscle group within the fitness community, as it is one of the primary movers in basically any pressing movements. However, generally speaking, when people train their triceps, they usually only pay attention to the lateral head and the medial head because they're the main contributors to your pressing power, particularly the lateral head, as it is the most obvious head from the front and the focal point of the pose side triceps, and the part that increases not just the width of your arms but the width of your whole body. So it is very understandable that the lateral head receives the highest attention within the same muscle group most of the time. However, if you are well versed in anatomy, then you should know that as eye-catchy as the lateral head can be, it is not the biggest head out of all three heads. The biggest head of tricep is the long head, which is the part that sits on the back of your upper arm. The long head makes roughly 2/3 of the total triceps muscle size, but unless you lift your arm, it will remain entirely invisible to you and the mirror in front of you, which partly explains why people are not paying so much attention to this head. Out of sight, out of mind. However, once you lift your arms or turn around, very quickly you will realize how significant the long head will contribute to your overall appearance. The long head is the main reason bodybuilding judging standards for triceps are called hanging triceps, because you literally have much more mass hanging under your arm than what sits on your arm. Let us take one of my favorite bodybuilders, Rolly Winkler, as an example. Rolly is renowned for having arguably the best set of triceps and some of the best arms in the whole bodybuilding history. And in this front double bicep pose, his biceps are no slouch, but it is those humongous long heads of the triceps that really made the solid base of his arm size and rendered the biceps as the sweet cherry on top. When you compare Rolly's arms to Marcus Rule's arms, which are too bicep dominant, you're going to find that Marcus's arms look too top heavy and way less powerful than Rolly's arms because his long head of the tricep is just too thin. All of a sudden, it seems that even if it's called the front double bicep pose, what makes an arm truly impressive is not biceps, but the long head of the triceps, because it forms the foundation of your whole upper arm. And when you turn around, pull your arms back and make a real lat spread pose. The beefy long head is the key to make your arms look absolutely freaky from behind and acts as another pair of wings in addition to your lats to really maximize your width. And perhaps nobody is better to illustrate this effect than Kevin Navarone himself. This is a clip from his posing routine in 1999 Mr. Olympia. As you can see, it is those mind-boggling long head of his triceps that made Kevin Navarone very impressive in this pose, despite a not so great back. So, from a physique perspective, the long head of your triceps should never be neglected in your training. And to make the argument even more convincing, from the daily function perspective, the long head training is even more imperative. Unlike the lateral and the medial heads, the long head originates from the shoulder blade, crossing the shoulder joint to attach to the elbow bone. This unique origin means that the long head is engaged in shoulder extension and also helps stabilize the shoulder joint. As I've mentioned in my fourth series, 10 Fitness Commandments, 5 Vulnerables, being the most mobile joints of the whole body. The shoulders are also the least stable joints of the whole body, and having strong tricep long head is absolutely essential for protecting your shoulders in daily overhead movements, things like reaching for the overhead cabinets, installing light bulbs, all require participation of the long head. This is also the reason that exercises that target long head are generally overhead movements like overhead cable extensions or skull crushes. However, just in case if you don't know it yet, straight arm pull down or pullovers are also great exercises for targeting the long head. And last, the dual rope cable pushdown created by the great John Meadows can target the long head from the most contracted position instead from the stretched overhead position, and is a great pump exercise compared to all other stretch-based exercises. As I hinted in the thumbnail of this episode, the long head of the tricep is the epitome of the hidden iceberg. It usually stays beneath the water, but once it has surfaced, you will be blown away by its sheer size and huge impact on the whole body. That's it, guys, the first ignored sibling. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. In the next episode, I will introduce the next even more ignored sibling from another muscle group. Stay tuned. Thank you for your support, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.